Increasingly seen over the past decades our fire research provision within the UK, which is internationally around, becoming increasingly more privatised. Whether it's our building research establishment, which is now a charitable trust, whether it's our fire service college, which is now under one of the major governmental support services contracts, and whether it's emergency planning college, which is under another support service provider. The other thing that we've seen is it's increasingly more challenging for fire research academic teams to give that true independence in the UK regions to secure funding for more, for lack of a better term, fashionable thematic areas. We have very small programs of research, but very important given the life safety and property protection issues, but we're in competition with larger, more profitable business degrees, MBAs and the such like. We've also seen a slight erosion of the succession routes from our young engineers in a very challenging environment to become senior industry captains, where we're seeing a throughput. And when I actually personally funded some young professional awards, we didn't have recipients. So we need to look at that through funding of the Fire Cadet programme nationally, fire service trainees. I'll encourage others to support those endeavours, and also look to how we fund our research. 10 and 11 years ago, the Department of Communities and Local Government was trying to get a national fire research academy off the ground. But unfortunately, the commentary that came back on a very comprehensive research proposal that's sponsored and supported by the whole of the sector was, you've already got many organisations, therefore we can't fund it. But it needs that focal point, it needs that independence, and we need that international recognition and response. I think we've seen a comparison between the Grenfell Tower fire and the Finchley Park terrorist attack. Immediately following the Finchley Park attack, Theresa May convened Cobra. That should have been the case for Grenfell on the Thursday or the early hours or late hours of Wednesday. Convene Cobra, get your emergency service personnel leads in, coordinate with the civil contingency local authority responders, and have a better response and better management of the media and the families and the residents' concerns. Not only for Grenfell tower blocks, but all tower blocks in the UK. I feel as if it could have been sharper, more effective, and then the central government may not have received some of the criticism that it has. I fully recognise that the multi-agency response by the emergency service was absolutely fantastic, and those individuals within all three emergency services put themselves at significant risk, with debris showering off the building down on top of them, significant injuries being occurring with the fire service personnel. They still went into that building when their dynamic risk assessments have said this is too risky for even emergency services personnel, possibly. The other thing we need to see is the softer services, where we move from the coordinated tri-emergency services that are very well practiced in London. We have London-based annual emergency services exercises. We had one last year, the unified exercise, went very, very well, we're very experienced. But then where we seemed to see some shocks and stressors was to the local authority response. But now we see that they have now caught up to speed. So I think moving from the emergency service response into the softer response by local authorities and the government, and there's a number of professional bodies in the UK that can actually facilitate and assist with that. So it might be another line of inquiry for the coroner court and also the public inquiry. Yeah. There's actually about 30 case studies, both in the UK and internationally, that we can refer to. Some of the more contemporary ones, and two of the more important ones that I'm going to draw attention to, is the Lakanal Coroner Court report in 2013 following the Lakanal Camberwell fire, where the ladies and the children actually expired. There was a number of recommendations made in that coroner court inquiry, predominantly looking at the emergency service response and also looking at the complexities in interpretation of our building legislation and the need for reducing, streamlining it and making it more practical in its application. And that's a long-standing issue. I believe some of the professional bodies within the fire community are actually doing research and campaigning and petitioning government on that, but I'll let them report on their own positions. The other more significant one that I have been talking about in the international press is quite a well-known report that was done by one of the legal councils in the UK, but it makes reference, and I'm actually referring to the actual source public inquiry report for the Garnock Court fire in Scotland in 1999. The public inquiry was published in 2000 to the House of Commons. So we've heard with Grenfell, Theresa May state we're going to go to a full public inquiry. We'll have parallel corner court inquiries and a parallel criminal and possibly civil actions as well. But in 2000 there was a report, and I'm going to quote, while this report did not suggest, this inquiry did not suggest that the majority of the external cladding systems in the UK currently in use pose a serious threat to life safety or property in the event of fire. They did go on to add, we do not believe that it should take a serious fire in which many people are killed before all reasonable steps are taken towards minimising the fire risk. They then go on to make commentary about the inclusion of standards through the British Standards Institute, revisions of approved document B, and the title of that report under the reference was, bear with me, it was entitled The Potential Risk of Fire Spread in Buildings via External Cladding Systems. We have known about this problem and issue within the fire sector. The House of Commons are aware of it. The Prime Minister's Office, I would imagine, is now aware of it through the National Press and our own technical advisors. Let's look at our legislation. We did it in Scotland when we reviewed our fire safety legislation. We also reviewed our building standards. We brought in new building regulations. We brought in new technical handbooks. And I believe, if memory serves me correct, that the most recent release was either in June 2016 or June 2017. I am aware that the building regulations are constantly under review, but there seems to be a dichotomy in the turnaround time. 4 years for the Lakanal Coroner report, 1 year for the Scottish Garnock report. Fire safety legislation in Scotland reviewed in 2005 and continued on the new basis, performance basis, whereas ADB, we appear to be limping on with a very outdated and outmoded document. And our colleagues at yesterday's expert panel were quite vocal about that position. Thank you.